Greetings, wisdom seekers. Imagine yourself walking through a forest serene, beautiful, seemingly harmless. But hidden within this peaceful landscape are unseen dangers. Quicksand, poisonous plants, and camouflaged predators. Just as the forest can hide these perils, the human world is full of its own concealed threats. People who appear friendly, supportive, or charming on the surface may, in truth, be something far more dangerous. Today, we journey into the hidden layers of human behavior to uncover what lies beneath the masks of those who walk among us. Plato once warned us, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." But not all battles are fought with honor. Some people, driven by motives hidden deep within their psyche, wear elaborate masks of decency, kindness, or even humility. Behind these masks, however, lurk manipulative intentions, toxic behaviors, and a readiness to cause harm. It's not enough to simply see people, we must learn to see through them. The Stoic philosophers Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus spoke extensively about the importance of understanding human nature, not just in ourselves, but in those around us. They knew that wisdom is not just about knowing what is right, but also about knowing what is wrong, about identifying threats that can corrode our inner peace and distort our reality. Today, we will explore 10 profound signs that reveal the presence of toxic, harmful individuals, people whose intentions are not merely to harm, but to control, manipulate, and distort reality to serve their own ends. By the end of this exploration, you will be better equipped to see through the masks, to understand the game being played, and to protect your mind and spirit from those who would see you falter. Wisdom seekers, your support means everything. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and consider using the thank you feature to make a donation. Every like, subscribe, and donation helps us continue our mission of sharing knowledge. Ready to unlock more wisdom? Let's get started. Sign 1. They are masters of deception. Deception is an art form perfected by those with malevolent intentions. It is the cornerstone of their existence and the first sign of a truly harmful person. But deception isn't just about lying outright. It's about weaving a web so intricate that truth itself is obscured. Think of a bad person as a master weaver, one who stitches together bits of truth with threads of lies, creating a tapestry that is almost impossible to untangle without great effort. A bad person uses deception not just as a means to an end, but as a fundamental way of interacting with the world. Their lies are not limited to words. They lie with their actions, with their silence, with their very presence. It is a subtle but pervasive art. They deceive you into thinking they're your friend, your ally, or even your savior. This is why the ancient Stoics placed such great emphasis on the value of discernment. Seneca writes, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality, and much of this suffering comes from the narratives spun by these deceivers." In daily interactions, these individuals may present themselves as pillars of virtue. They may be the coworker who always seems to have the boss' ear, the friend who always says the right things, or even the partner who seems too good to be true. And often, they are. They deceive through omission, leaving out critical pieces of information that would reveal their true motives. They manipulate situations to their advantage, always casting themselves in a favorable light, always making you question your perception of reality. This deception is also psychological. They might use a tactic known as gaslighting, a form of psychological manipulation in which a person seeks to make someone else doubt their reality. It starts small, a slight distortion of facts, a minor denial of what was said, an undermining of your confidence. Over time, it escalates, until you're left doubting your own memory, your own sanity. This is where their true power lies, not in the lie itself, but in the way it makes you question everything else. To counter this, Marcus Aurelius advised in Meditations to keep the mind clear and focused on what is within our control. What is within our control is our ability to question, to think deeply, be skeptical without being cynical. The antidote to deception is clarity. Always ask, does this person's words match their actions? Do they have a history of bending the truth? Is their story consistent? The dangerous reality is that deceptive people can thrive in environments where trust is a given, such as workplaces, social groups, or even families. Therefore, remain vigilant. Don't let your guard down just because someone smiles and speaks kindly. Test their words against reality. Trust, but verify. Sign 2. They thrive on chaos and conflict. Chaos, for many, is a state to be avoided, a break in the natural order of life that brings discomfort and unease. But for bad people, chaos is a playground. This is our second sign. They thrive on chaos and conflict, creating it where there is none and amplifying it where it already exists. Their actions, like a stone thrown into a calm pond, ripple outwards, disturbing the peace of everyone around them. But why do they do this? Why would anyone choose to sow discord rather than cultivate harmony? The answer lies in power dynamics. Chaos serves as a smokescreen, a distraction from their true nature and motives. In a chaotic environment, they can maneuver more freely, make decisions that go unnoticed, and manipulate outcomes to suit their needs. Think of chaos as their camouflage. In a stable, peaceful environment, the inconsistencies and deceit in their character would stand out like a sore thumb. But in chaos, these inconsistencies can be explained away, or better yet, blamed on someone else. As Niccolò Machiavelli, the political philosopher, might suggest, in the tumult of disorder, cunning can prosper. The bad person is often the one to stir the pot, to initiate conflicts between others, or to bring up old grievances that should have been laid to rest. They are the ones whispering behind closed doors, suggesting, "Did you hear what so-and-so said about you?" Or, "I wouldn't trust them if I were you." The seeds of discord they plant take root quickly because they water them with half-truths and innuendo, all designed to keep everyone off balance and on edge. Epictetus warned us about getting dragged into these battles of ego and pride. If someone succeeds in provoking you, he wrote, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. A wise person sees through these tactics and refuses to engage in unnecessary conflict. Instead, they maintain their inner peace and refuse to be a pawn in someone else's game. But it's not just about causing fights. A person who thrives on chaos will also find ways to create situations where they are seen as the hero or the problem solver. They'll stir up trouble and then step in to calm things down, appearing benevolent and competent. It's a classic problem-reaction-solution tactic, where they manufacture the problem, provoke the reaction, and then offer a solution that benefits them in some way. To identify this sign, observe their patterns over time. Are they frequently involved in drama? Are they often the ones who bring up contentious topics or drag old conflicts into new situations? Are they only at peace when there is no peace around them? The more chaos they create, the more they reveal their true nature. Sign 3. They are expert manipulators of emotion. Emotions are powerful. They drive us, connect us, and sometimes they can blind us. Our third sign of a bad person is their expert ability to manipulate emotions, bending them to serve their own ends. These individuals are like skilled puppeteers, pulling on the strings of your heart and mind with practiced ease. Think of the emotional manipulator as a master of an unseen puppetry. They know exactly how to push your buttons, when to give you praise, and when to withhold it. They understand the nuances of human vulnerability and use them to weave a web where they are the spider and you, the prey. The manipulation is not always overt. It is often subtle, which makes it all the more dangerous. Consider how they might use flattery to gain favor. Compliments flow freely, but they are not sincere, they are calculated. When you do something they want or say something they agree with, they shower you with praise. But when you show independence or contradict them, that praise turns into subtle criticism. This keeps you constantly on edge, constantly trying to earn back their approval. The ancient philosopher Aristotle wrote extensively on the concept of virtue, including the virtue of friendship. True friendship, according to Aristotle, is built on mutual respect and equality, not manipulation or control. The emotional manipulator often plays the victim, as we will explore more deeply later, to invoke guilt or sympathy. They might say, "I'm just so hurt that you didn't consider my feelings," even when the situation was clearly not about them. They will use guilt as a weapon, making you feel responsible for their happiness, for their well-being, even for their very existence. Such manipulators are also skilled in gaslighting. a form of psychological abuse where they make you doubt your perception of reality. They may say things like, "I never said that you're imagining things," or "You're too sensitive, it was just a joke." Over time, this creates a cloud of self-doubt and confusion around you, making it easier for them to control you. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us that we are not disturbed by things, but by the view we take of them. Emotional manipulators know this well. They distort your view, cloud your judgment, and make you question your reality. The key to breaking free from this is self-awareness and emotional resilience. Understand that your emotions are your own, and someone else's ability to manipulate them is only as powerful as your lack of awareness. To detect this, examine how you feel after interactions with them. Do you often feel drained, anxious, or uncertain? Do you feel like you're constantly trying to prove your worth or second-guessing yourself? This is not normal. It is a sign that you are dealing with an emotional manipulator. Sign 4. They seek to control through fear and intimidation. Fear is one of the oldest and most primal emotions. It has driven human behavior for millennia, and it is the fourth sign of a bad person, their desire to control others through fear and intimidation. If they can make you afraid of them, of consequences, of losing something, they can make you do almost anything. Fear-based control is insidious because it often starts small. It might begin with a seemingly harmless comment, "If you do that, you'll regret it," or "I wouldn't cross me if I were you." It's a test to see how you react. If you show fear, they know they have power over you. If you stand firm, they may back down, or they may escalate to more overt threats. The great philosophers often spoke of the corrosive nature of fear. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic, repeatedly urged himself to remain unperturbed in the face of whatever happens. He understood that fear is a weapon that others can use to manipulate us, to control us. If someone can make you afraid, they can make you doubt your decisions, your actions, even your beliefs. Consider how these people use fear to control groups, not just individuals. In a workplace, for example, they might foster an environment of uncertainty and insecurity. They might subtly threaten job security or use their influence to make people afraid of speaking up or disagreeing. In personal relationships, they might employ fear of rejection or abandonment as a control mechanism, subtly hinting that if you don't comply, you could lose their love, their respect, or even your standing in a social group. This fear doesn't always come from loud, obvious threats. It can come from silence, from a cold, intimidating stare, from a veiled comment that implies something more sinister. It's about creating a sense of unease that lingers long after the interaction is over. It's about making you feel small, weak, and dependent. The wise know that fear is an illusion. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The only way to combat fear-based control is to confront it directly. Understand that most of what you fear is not real. It is a construct designed to keep you compliant. The minute you stop fearing, you strip the bad person of their power over you. Pay attention to how they use fear. Are they trying to make you afraid of what might happen? Are they using fear to keep you from speaking out or standing up for yourself? Recognize the tactic and refuse to play the game. Your mind is yours. Don't let it be conquered by fear. Sign 5. They play the victim to escape responsibility. Playing the victim is an art form for the bad person. It is their fifth sign, a strategy that allows them to escape responsibility, deflect blame, and manipulate others into feeling sorry for them. A bad person knows that, in a world where empathy is valued, playing the victim can be one of the most effective tools for manipulation. A bad person will often frame every scenario to make themselves appear as the aggrieved party. Did they betray a friend? They'll tell you how they were misunderstood, or how they were forced into a corner. Did they fail at a task? It was someone else's fault for not giving them the right support or information. You see, the narrative always bends to fit their agenda. Socrates, ancient philosopher, questioned the very fabric of human behavior, taught the importance of self-awareness and accountability. To him, understanding oneself was the highest form of wisdom. The bad person, however, rejects this wisdom. They have no desire to see their true reflection. They craft stories where they are always wronged, where they are always the underdog, a misunderstood hero in a world full of villains. What makes this tactic particularly effective is that it taps into the natural human tendency to empathize with the underdog. It's in our nature to side with those who appear to be suffering, who appear to have been wronged, but the bad person abuses this instinct. They create a cycle where they are always seeking sympathy and never taking responsibility. Over time, you might notice a pattern. They are never at fault. There is always an excuse, always a reason why they should be exempt from blame. But true wisdom recognizes that growth comes from owning one's actions, learning from mistakes, and facing the consequence. A person who is always a victim is someone who never grows. To spot this sign, look for patterns of blame shifting. Are they always the one who has been wronged? Do they always have a story that puts them in a sympathetic light, no matter how unlikely? True strength comes from facing one's flaws, not hiding behind a perpetual victim narrative. A wise person will see through the smoke and mirrors and recognize the self-deception for what it is. Sign 6. They are relentlessly self-centered. The sixth sign is a deeply ingrained self-centeredness, a constant and overwhelming focus on oneself to the exclusion of others. At the core of every bad person is a deep-seated narcissism. This isn't just vanity, it is a worldview where they are the sun and everyone else merely orbits around them. To understand this, let's revisit Aristotle's concept of the golden mean, the desirable middle ground between excess and deficiency. A good person seeks this balance, but a bad person lives in extremes. Their self-centeredness is not just a flaw, it is an extreme form of self-absorption that manifests in every interaction and relationship. This kind of person will often dominate conversations, making everything about themselves. Even in moments meant for others, they will find a way to insert themselves. If you are celebrating a success, they will find a way to either downplay it or turn the attention back to their own achievements. If you're grieving a loss, they will remind you of their own past sorrows, making your pain about them. They don't just crave the spotlight, they demand it. Beyond conversation, this self-centeredness also manifests in decision-making. They will always prioritize their own needs and desires above others, regardless of the consequence. They might pretend to care to listen, but watch closely. Their actions will always betray them. True empathy and consideration for others are absent. Philosopher Immanuel Kant spoke of treating humanity, whether in your own person or in another, always as an end and never merely as a means. Bad people treat others as means to an end their end. Whether it's to gain status, power, or some other form of self-gratification, they use people as tools to achieve their desires. When dealing with such individuals, it is crucial to set boundaries. Understand that their self-centeredness knows no bounds. It will drain you emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically, if you allow them to. Stand firm in your own worth and don't allow yourself to be reduced to a mere accessory in their self-obsessed world. To detect this sign, observe the balance in your relationship with them. Is there mutual give and take, or is it always about them? Genuine people care about reciprocity and mutual respect. A bad person's relentless self-centeredness is a flashing warning sign. Sign 7. They are masters of subtle disrespect. Now let's delve into a subtler, yet equally destructive trait, being a master of subtle disrespect. This is our 7th sign. It's easy to spot overt rudeness, but the bad person is more insidious. They employ a kind of stealthy disrespect, small jabs, condescending tones, backhanded compliments that accumulates over time, slowly eroding your self-esteem and confidence. Subtle disrespect is a psychological tool. It's designed to undermine you without you even realizing it. It might come in the form of a joke at your expense. They might say, "Oh, you're going to wear that?" with a smile on their face, as if it were just harmless fun. But each of these little comments has a cumulative effect, creating a narrative that you are lesser, that you are inferior, or that you are not good enough. When faced with this tactic, the Stoics would advise us to consider the source and intention behind the words. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Bad person exploits this dichotomy, if they rely on the fact that you care about their opinion and use it as a weapon against you. This kind of disrespect isn't always verbal. It can also be behavioral. They might interrupt you constantly in conversations, talk over you, or ignore what you have to say. They might roll their eyes when you speak or give a condescending smile. The message is clear. You are not worth listening to. Your voice does not matter. Identifying this behavior involves a high level of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Ask yourself, how do you feel after spending time with this person? Do you feel empowered and respected, or do you feel small, belittled, and unsure of yourself? Trust your feelings. They are often the first indicators that something is wrong. Recognizing subtle disrespect is crucial. Stand your ground. Speak up for yourself when you feel you are being disrespected. A person who truly values and respects you will listen and adjust their behavior. A bad person will only escalate their tactic. Sign 8, they are chronic gossips and spread rumors. The 8th sign of a bad person is their tendency to engage in gossip and rumor-mongering. For them, gossip is not just idle chatter. It is a tool for manipulation, a way to control the narrative, and a method to sow discord and distrust among others. Philosopher Laozi once said, "He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still." Bad people seek control by other means. They control perceptions, twist narratives, and manipulate the truth through gossip. Chronic gossips thrive on secrecy and speculation. They will often come to you with the words, "I shouldn't tell you this, but," or "Don't tell anyone, but I heard that." These statements are designed to make you feel special, as if you're being brought into a secret circle. But in truth, it is a circle of deceit, manipulation, and half-truths. They may spread false information to damage the reputation of others, or create unnecessary drama to divide and conquer social circles. They rely on the chaos they create to position themselves as the sane voice amid the madness. But remember, it is they who lit the fire in the first place. The Stoics would advise us to be deaf to the words of an evil tongue, recognizing that gossip is the lowest form of communication. It builds nothing, strengthens nothing, and serves only to destroy. A wise person understands that listening to gossip and engaging in it corrupts the soul. When dealing with a chronic gossip, establish clear boundaries. Refuse to participate in the conversation. Shut down rumors. And most importantly, do not share personal information with someone who has proven they cannot be trusted. They are not interested in the truth. They are interested in the power that comes from distorting it. Sign 9. They are pathologically jealous and envious. The 9th sign of a bad person is an ingrained jealousy and envy that permeates their actions and thoughts. These individuals are never satisfied with their own lot in life. They are always comparing themselves to others, always seeking to diminish others to elevate themselves. Jealousy, as Plato observed, is a disease of the mind. It corrodes reason and clarity, leading people to make irrational decisions. A bad person's jealousy is pathological. It's not a passing feeling, but a persistent, all-consuming state. They don't just want what others have, they resent others for having it. It's an emotion that leads to bitterness, resentment, and ultimately destructive behavior. They may attempt to sabotage others' success or spread rumors to undermine someone's reputation. They might even try to imitate or steal ideas to prove they are just as good if not better. It is an endless cycle of comparison, resentment, and malice. To identify this sign, notice how they respond to others' success. Are they genuinely happy, or do they offer a half-hearted compliment, followed by a negative comment? Do they try to bring the conversation back to themselves, or downplay someone else's achievement? A wise person understands that someone else's success is not their failure, but a bad person cannot see this. The antidote to dealing with jealousy is to rise above it. Understand that their envy is not about you. It's a reflection of their own insecurities and lack. Stay focused on your path. Keep your integrity intact. And remember the words of Seneca. The greatest wealth is a poverty of desires. Sign 10. They have a total lack of empathy. The 10th and most damning sign of a bad person is a complete and utter lack of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It is the foundation of all human connection. Without empathy, Person is like a ship without a rudder, dangerous, unpredictable, and often destructive. A bad person's lack of empathy is evident in their inability to genuinely connect with others. They may pretend to care, but their actions betray their true nature. They may mimic concern or compassion when it serves them, but it is a facade. When it comes down to it, they are indifferent to the pain and suffering of others. They are only interested in how a situation can benefit them. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster." Those without empathy are often the monsters who mask themselves in human skin. They are cold, calculated, and completely self-serving. They do not love, they use. They do not care, they pretend. They are devoid of the very thing that makes us human. To identify this, look at how they treat those who can offer them nothing. How do they speak about the less fortunate, the marginalized, the vulnerable? Do they display genuine care, or do they see these people as obstacles or tools? A person without empathy will often see kindness as weakness, compassion as folly, and love as a game to be played. In dealing with such a person, remember the importance of protecting your own empathy and compassion. Do not let their coldness make you cold. Be wise, set boundaries, and, as the Stoics taught, maintain your inner virtues regardless of external circumstances. True wisdom lies not in becoming like those who harm us, but in holding firm to our values in the face of adversity. Wisdom seekers, the world is filled with all kinds of people. Some will lift you, support you, and help you grow. Others will drain you, deceive you, and pull you down into their darkness. Recognizing these 10 signs of a bad person can be the key to protecting yourself, peace, and your potential. Remember, wisdom is not just about knowing what to do. It is about knowing what to avoid, who to avoid, and how to navigate this complex journey called life. Stay wise, stay vigilant, and above all, stay true to your path.